Go ahead.
Hi, so I think we're live, right, Junie?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Live Your Calling webinar. We are so excited to be here with you tonight, and we can't wait to share all that we have prepared for you.
That is true, and it's so interesting with all the tech. It's like, we've prepared so much for you, and then there's like getting everything ready. So here we are, and we're thrilled that you're here. But before we jump in, we really want to take a moment to acknowledge you. I mean, really, guys, we know how busy your life is. There's so much responsibilities, the to-do list, the kids, the partners, your work. I mean, we know that your plate is full. So it says a lot that you're here, and that you've put your life, so to speak, on hold to step into an arena with us. What that says to us is you're searching, that you're looking for something that can help you stand strongly in whatever it is that you want to manifest in your life. Your calling. We really believe that you're being called for something greater in your life. And because you're here, it says that you want to know what's stopping you, what your blocks are, and we really want to help you with that. And we also know that by doing the same thing over and over again, we get the same results. So that's why we created tonight, to give you something new, to start you fresh with something else, so that you really can step strongly in your life and manifest that which you are wanting so much for yourself. So we're thrilled you're here. You deserve it, and you will not regret it.
I agree. I don't think you're going to regret it. We have a great program planned for you with a lot of golden nuggets. And we also really want to reward you for being here tonight. So we'll be giving you a very juicy special at the end of tonight. We're going to talk to you about our upcoming Live Your Calling virtual retreat that will happen on February 20th. So stick around and you'll hear more about that towards the end of this hour. So
Yes.
this is what we're going to be doing tonight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was my turn.
Go,
Live.
Junie.
We're raw. We're real. We're here. So this is what we're doing tonight. Yes. We have a lot of content for you, and we want you to have experiences. We really want you to start to experience what it's like to transform your inner critic into your inner ally, and you're going to get clearer also on your golden spark. Because what we have found is that when you really know what your heart's calling for, that's when the inner critic tends to show up. So we're going to like really get clear about what it is you're wanting, and what the inner critic is, what its function is, and why it showed up in your life and why it's still around. And then also we're going to be doing a live demonstration. Yes, guys. And the live demonstration will be me as the participant. It's unscripted, it's unedited. Well, obviously it's unedited. We didn't plan this out. I'm going to step into my inner critic, and she is going to interview me in that role. So you can get a sense of this powerful tool we use, which is kind of called part playing. And we believe that by accessing these parts, specifically the inner critic, and having this relationship, things change. So stick around for that. It's not to be missed. You'll get to have a peek into what goes on between my ears as an inner critic. Maybe you don't want to know too much, but hang in there. I think it could be interesting. And we also have some other great things that we're going to share with you tonight. So we're thrilled you're here, guys.
So usually when you watch a webinar, there's a fancy PowerPoint slide. There's a lot of beautiful slides with a lot of pictures and text. And this allows people to read from a script behind the scenes. But when we're going to be doing the live Live Your Calling retreat, we won't be doing it just like this. So tonight, we want to give you a taste of how it will be when you join us on February 20th. So since we're not hiding behind a script, it ain't going to be perfect. But that's part of what we're sharing with you tonight. It's about getting comfortable with your imperfections, which will lead you to a fully expressed life. And we do have our scripts in our hands, so we'll be looking
Yes.
at them.
I
Right?
have my scripts, and And yes, it's going to be far from perfect in that way, because we are really being present with you and we want to connect with you. And there's a lot of information that we've put together and we don't want to miss anything. So, I will be looking at my script. I'm also running the text. So my fingers are dancing around on the buttons and, lots of balls in the air. But that's what life's about, right, guys? It's like managing our life and how to do that. And I'll tell you something, if my inner critic was really loud, I wouldn't be able to do this, because I would think, but later, we'll talk to my inner critic later. So, okay, so let's begin. So what we wanted to do is give you a little peek at who we are and why we think you might want to listen to us. So I'm Junie Moon, in case you don't know. And, well, I've had a life like yours. I've lived a full life. I've had lots of experiences along the way, and they've shaped me. They've shaped me into being who I am today. And one of the experiences that really had big impact on me was when I was little. Around 8, 9 years old, I was very bullied as a kid. The kids at school were very mean to me, and it made me feel terrified to be seen, to be heard. I really started to shrink at a very early age, because what you see, guys, is how I am. Big, bright, bubbly personality, and that didn't fly too well in school, as you can imagine. And so I was taunted and I was humiliated on a regular basis. And well, by the time I got to high school, I couldn't even raise my hand in class. Seriously, I was so scared that if I spoke, that someone would say something, whether I got the answer right or wrong, someone would say something, and my heart would just drop into my stomach, and it was horrible. And so what happened along the way was my inner critic voice grew. This voice in my head that said, don't raise your hand, you have nothing to say, or, lower that light a little bit. You're standing out too much, you're too weird, you're not liked, you're strange. All these voices started showing up, and it really squashed my spirit. One of the voices that was most damaging to me was, I'm fat and ugly. And that impacted a lot in my life. It impacted my relationships with men. It impacted me as an actress. I was an actress in the city, and I would go in for an audition, and that voice would compare. I would be comparing everybody, and I'm so much fatter than them, or I'm and I was small, guys, and I still had to lose more weight according to the industry. And so that voice got even bigger. So this voice inside of me grew, and it impacted so many aspects of my life. And I would eat a lot of food to calm myself and to soothe myself. And I'd go up and down the scale 50 pounds at a time. And basically, I was miserable. I was in so much pain, physically and emotionally. And that's when I said, there's got to be a different way. So I started learning different types of personal growth work and taking workshops just like you, seeking and wondering. And then I found shadow work, which to me was the biggest piece of work that shifted everything, quieted my inner critic, and gave me the life I have today. And that's why I do the work I do. I became a certified shadow work facilitator and coach. I work with individuals and groups around the country, because I want other people to have the transformation I've experienced. I know it can happen, and I've seen it happen all the time with other people. So I love what I do, and I help people become fully expressed, because that's what it's about. Karen, why don't you tell us your story?
So I'm Karen Green, and some years ago, I was working as a scientist at UMass Medical School, and I often had to present and defend whatever research I was working on at the moment in all sorts of various meetings. And at the time, my inner critic was so loud that I didn't speak up much out of fear of being wrong or criticized or found out that I didn't know as much as all the other brilliant researchers that I was working with at these meetings. My inner critic was so loud that I often didn't hear what other people said in these meetings because I was too busy criticizing myself. And this meant that I missed critical feedback on the research. It also meant that I never heard the positive comments that were also there for me. And this consequently led me to not really having that much success in this field. And so I embarked on a journey that led me to really figure out how to bust my inner critic and figure out where it came from. And so just like Junie, I did a lot of personal growth and found shadow work, which completely changed my life. It transformed my life. So I'm now also a certified shadow work facilitator and a coach. And I use all that I have learned and all the tools I collected along the way to help my clients so that we can all live with joy and with inner peace in our hearts. So I lead transformational shadow work seminars where people truly move through their blocks. And I also do a lot of one-on-one coaching to really help people find their true calling, remove the blocks that prevents them from living in joy or finding their own joy.
Yes. So we have both experienced a lot, and we have found shadow work to be just a phenomenal type of work to help us access our life force. Before I go on more with my script, I want to just welcome everybody here that's live. I see we have a bunch of people live. Chrissy says, "Ugh, my inner critic loves to interrupt me." Yeah. Loves to interrupt me too. Anyway, so as you can see, the chat is live. Feel free to write. We may not be looking at it all the time. Obviously, we can't, but we will be checking in. And if you have questions, we'll be answering questions later on too. So feel free to post away and let us know if you're here. We'd love to know who's here. So as you can see, we're really passionate about this work, and we really are inspired to help you transform your inner critic into your ally. You know, we've learned a lot, and it's just amazing what we've experienced in our own personal lives and in our clients' lives. And so one of the things we have seen is the inner critic always shows up in relationship to something we are wanting or desiring in our life. So we figured that's the best place to start today, to really tap into your golden spark, to really see what's pulling you forward. What is it that's calling you? And in doing so, we'll also find out what your inner critic has to say about it. Okay, lost my place.
So,
okay, yeah. Go ahead.
right?
Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
it really is our belief that if you can imagine, feel, or see your golden spark,
Mhm.
it is yours. It's already in you. It's already yours to get. So we're going to offer you a visualization as a way to help you get in touch with what it is that you want, to see it, to feel it, to taste it. And as with all visualizations, there are many ways that you can connect with it. Some of you, when you do a visualization, might see a really vivid pictures and sceneries. Some of you just hear very clear voices. And some of you might just have a vague knowing of what it is you experience. There really is no right way or wrong way to do this. It's only your way. So for the next several minutes, we're going to take you on a journey to find your golden spark.
Yes, we are. And I'm in this moment, my inner critic, it's here. It's saying, it's a good thing you have that script and that you both have the script. Because you just messed up, girlfriend. But as you can see, I'm laughing and we're all good. So great. So yeah, so there's different ways to experience this. We invite you to have your own experience. So Karen is going to bring you on a journey, and I'm actually going to share my screen with you because I would really love for you to see some beautiful pictures if you choose to not close your eyes and you just kind of want to go for the journey visually. So
and if you're
take it away,
driving,
Karen. Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're driving, please just listen to it. Don't follow along. We want you to be safe in your car.
Yes.
So just get yourself comfortable while Julie is putting up the pictures. Just get yourself comfortable with your feet on the floor and start to think about what it is that you really want. Let it be something that's psychological or spiritual, like more joy in your life, inner peace, or healthy relationship. This exercise doesn't work so well with wanting a bigger boat or an expensive car. So just let it be something that you long for in your life. And now take a deep breath into your belly and let it out. Take another deep breath into your belly And let it out. And let the tension in your shoulders just fall off and down onto the ground. And feel your body relax. And notice your feet on the floor. And notice the support your body has from the surface below you. And now feel that you have roots that are growing from the bottom of your feet. Feel these roots growing down, down through the floor, down through the foundation, down into the earth. Feel your roots growing deep into the earth, down through bedrock, down through reservoirs of water, deep down into the core of the earth. And notice the energy of the earth that's surrounding your roots. Can you feel that? Now draw this energy into your root and allow the energy of the earth to flow up through your roots and into your body. All the way up through your roots and into your body. And feel the energy of the earth start to fill your body. It's filling your legs, coming up to your torso. It's filling your chest, down into your arms. It's filling your shoulders, your neck, and your head. And feel what it feels like to be totally filled with the energy of the earth. And now allow that energy of the earth to flow through you, to flow through you and out through an opening on the top of your head. And allow the energy of the earth that flows through you to spray up into the universe, up and up and up into the universe. And notice up there what that universal energy feels like. Can you feel that? And now draw down that universal energy. Draw it down and down in through the top of your head and let it fill your body. Let it come down your shoulders, into your arms. Let it fill your torso. Let it come down your legs, all the way down into your feet. And let this mingle inside your body with the energy of the earth. And notice what that feels like. And now you are grounded to the earth and you are connected to the universe and you are centered right here, right now, between the two. So from this place of being grounded, connected, and centered, ask yourself, what do I truly want? And let that answer just come. There's no need to think or wonder if it's right. The first answer that comes to mind, no matter how faint, is often the deep truth. And now feel this want in your body. Just feel it inside your body. And notice where in your body this want lives. And now, imagine that you can take a big leap into the future. Take a leap into the future to a place where you have what it is you want. The leap could be 5 years, 1 year, 1 month from now. So take this leap now and notice that you are there. And look around. Notice where you are. Are you inside? Or are you outside? Are you with someone? Or are you alone? Notice if you're doing something. What does it feel like in your body when you are there, doing what you're doing? Feel that in your body. And where in your body do you feel that? And when you feel that in your body, what color does it have? And when it is in your body and has a color, notice if it has a shape or a vibration. And when it is in your body and has a color and a shape and a vibration, see if it has a message for you. A message that starts with an I or an I am. And feel this message in your body. Hear this message. And take a deep breath into your belly. And breathe out. And take another deep breath into your belly. And breathe out. And now wiggle your fingers. And wiggle your toes. And move your shoulders a bit. And if your eyes have been closed, you can open your eyes. And come back to the here and now. And welcome back.
That was so beautiful. That was so powerful. Great job, Karen. I'm leaving the flower up for a moment just so as you come back to here and now, you're not blasted with all my computer stuff. So to just even look at the flower and just see the beautiful color of that and the vibrancy of it, and to really stay connected to that which you just discovered is something you're longing for. And so now I'm going to switch us out of the screen share, hopefully. Let's see. It says end show. I guess that's, now I know what I did. Okay. Stop screen share. Okay. I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back. And, okay. Yay.
Welcome back, Junie.
You would think we didn't rehearse this, and we did. So yes, great job. Great job. So I wish we had more time to really hear about your experiences. And I know everyone had some experience. Feel free to, again, share at the chat, but we'll look at them later. There's just so much time we have, and we really want to, really get to the juicy stuff for you. So now that, you've connected to that golden spark, I hope you were able to feel it, maybe smell it, taste it, to kind of have it inside of you, because the more specific you are with it and the more you get to really own it inside, the more you can manifest it. It's just a powerful thing. It's a great metaphor, and it's a great tool for you to actually move forward in your life. My dog is moving. I'm like, don't touch the wires. And so like we said before, that when you're wanting something, that's sometimes when the inner critic shows up. You know, it's in that wanting that the inner critic says, ooh, you know, I need to make sure that this is okay. And so we want to explore that. We want to explore what this inner critic is, and Karen's going to start us off with that.
So the inner critic's original function is to spare you from shame and from pain. And in our growing up, in that process, our parents must teach us, especially you have to teach your children how to look good, how to behave appropriately in order to succeed in this world. So as children, we are taught how to be and how not to be, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, how to fit in and how to be loved.
Exactly. And well-meaning parents, you know, parents do their very best to figure out how to help their children be safe and to succeed. And sometimes that comes through with verbal criticizing their child, like telling them that their behavior is bad, or, you know, stop acting like that, or little boys shouldn't be crying, you know, or maybe they say things like, you know, I'm so disappointed in you. And it can hurt. Those messages come in, and as a young child, they can hurt. And the programming begins of how to be and how not to be. It also can come through with nonverbal cues, like how a parent might hold themselves physically. You know, maybe their arms are crossed, and you get a sense that, you know, you've done something wrong, or that's not allowed. Or sometimes it's just a look. And I've shared this on other webinars, and I've gotten permission from my mom to kind of throw her under the bus, that she had a look. She wouldn't say things like that to me, but in that look, you know, was, young lady, you did something wrong. Young lady, you fell short. You know, that was unacceptable. And the fear that I would feel in my body from that message, just from a look, really would move deeply through me. And that's the training we all have had, guys. Well-meaning parents, but these messages have come at us, and then we internalize them. So as children, in order to protect themselves from the pain and the shame of feeling less than in the eyes of the people that they admire and love, they start to create their own inner dialogue. The messages they heard suddenly are echoing in their own head, and it's in their own voice, and it comes out sometimes even before somebody else says it. It's like, you know, let me tell myself that I'm bad before somebody else tells it. And we do that in relationship to all the people that we love, our teachers, the kids around us, and we do that to, again, keep us from pain. And so when you were a child, the inner critic was born. And as time went on, you know, it's just gotten, well, from the very beginning, it was so anxious. It was so nervous because it didn't want you to get hurt, and it wanted you to succeed in the world. And it wanted you to be accepted and loved by all the people around you. The thing is, now that we've left childhood, the inner critic is still doing its old tricks. You know, great strategies, but it's not working the way we need it to work now. And yet it continues on, and in ways that are unacceptable. And it doesn't know when to stop, and it just keeps running.
Right. And so the inner critic can often overshoot, and he can be loud, and he will do whatever it takes for you to be successful. And he can be really rough on you. It doesn't want you to fail or get hurt. It doesn't want you to feel pain or shame. What it wants is it wants you to be safe and to fit in. But somewhere along the way, it gets a bit confused about its job, and it can even become quite corrupt. And it can really stop you from getting the very thing that you want or desire. The inner critic doesn't know when enough is enough. And it has a tendency to grow until it's kind of out of control and begin to undermine us. And it can do some real damage. And at this point, its original intent of protecting has really gotten lost.
Exactly. Good intentions, and things have changed. And sometimes the very thing that your heart is calling for, the very thing that you're longing for, your inner critic thinks it's dangerous, or thinks it's not a good idea. And that, you know, if you really go for what you want, or really step into the place that you're so wanting, your inner critic really believes that there's great risk. that there's the possibility of shame and pain, like it happened earlier in your life. I mean, because that's what happened to you. And so this inner critic is online, and it remembers what happened when you were young. And so it is doing its best so that you don't have it happen again. So you might think that your inner critic doesn't care about you, or that it doesn't care about whether you get the very thing that you want. And in reality, that's true. It really doesn't. The only thing it really wants is to make sure that you're safe. The thing is that there's a cost with that now. Karen, you want to give them an example?
I do. This is a story from one of my clients, and I did get her permission to tell her story. So one of my clients, she was really struggling to speak up for herself, which was the main reason why she was working with me. And when we were just digging some deeper into her struggles, we found that really she was terrified of being judged as annoying. And she was in the process where she really had to renegotiate her contract and ask for a raise from her employer. And she was terrified of having this conversation because her underlying belief was that if she asked for what she needed, she would come across as annoying, or she would be judged as annoying, and they would fire her. So it was a huge risk for her to ask for a raise. In our coaching sessions, we communicated with her inner critic, and we found out that when she was in fifth grade, her girlfriends kind of ganged up on her and told her that she was way too annoying, and that if she didn't stop being annoying, they wouldn't be her friends anymore. So she stuffed her annoyance. She stuffed her annoyance to the point that now, as an adult, she struggled to speak up for herself in any situation. And in working with her, we transformed her inner critic to a budding inner ally. And we got her to the place where she could ask for a new contract and a raise, and she got it, and she wasn't fired. But more importantly, she's no longer afraid of speaking up for herself and asking for what she needs. And she's not afraid of being seen as annoying. And this is only one thing that's possible when your inner critic starts to shift into an inner ally.
Absolutely. So now we want to take it over to you, and to have you kind of check in with yourself about how your inner critic shows up. You know, what are your common themes or common messages that you hear? So take a moment and check in. Think about your life. How does your inner critic sound? What does it tell you? And when you hear those things, how does it impact your life? Does it get in the way of your relationships, your work, your relationship to yourself, your joy? Here's an interesting question for you. Does it sound like anyone you know? Sometimes we just hear these voices, and if we track the voice, we could actually find that it belongs to somebody else, like maybe your father or maybe a teacher. I've had a lot of nuns show up. Who are these people, and who might be telling you these things in your head? Maybe they're not your voices. Where did these messages come from? Maybe you've adopted some negative messages from others, and now you think they're yours. So they might be familiar, but it also might be something you created on your own too. You know, you might have had an experience, you know, maybe you were in high school and you were running up the stairs trying to get to a class, and you accidentally stepped on some really popular person's shoe, you know, and they turned around and they looked at you, and they gave you the evil eye, and you felt horrified, horrified. And in that moment of making a mistake, right, as we all do all the time, you know, things happen, you might have made a decision about yourself. You might have thought, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I'm so clumsy. I'm such a loser. And then you internalize that message from this experience, and you took it with you. Like all these other messages, you took it with you, and now you have this perception of yourself from what other people said, and now you own it. So think about it. What are the things that you tell yourself, and how is it showing up in your life?
Right. And I often say that the first step in taming or transforming an inner critic is to recognize that it's a voice. It's a voice that you have. And if you can see whose voice it is, that might help you with that distance. I have had a voice that I know came from my dad. My dad's way of protecting me when I was growing up was to make sure that I had thought of all possibilities. He would question all my decisions and actions. And I now know that this was his way of loving me and caring for me and to keep me safe and to be a good father. But the message I took on as a child was that I didn't know enough. And my inner critic has repeated that message to me millions of times since that. And it has really led me to having a big fear of speaking about anything that I don't know and that I'm not 100% sure about. 7 years ago, I would have told you that I could not do what I do today without an advanced degree, lots of credentials and certifications. And here I am, loving what I'm doing, getting positive feedback for what I'm doing, making a difference in people's life, and all that without a PhD. And this is really what we want for you too. This is what we want for you.
Exactly.
So
Oh, did you want to say something else? Go ahead.
I want to ask, what would your life be like if your inner critic was more quiet? Or better yet, what if your inner ally was working with you to build your self-worth?
Great question. And you guys can keep chatting away. I've been looking at some of the shares here. I so wish we could just keep addressing all of them, but some really great shares. I love that you're all owning some of the impact of your inner critic. And so, yeah, what would it be like for you if you had an inner ally working with you? So definitely take a moment to think about that and keep sharing the chat, and we'll get to that soon. So one of the things we've noticed is when you can really separate the inner critic from yourself and see it as a different voice than yours, like it belongs to somebody else, it's a great way to start the work, to start the shift. Just by simply saying, that's my mother's voice, you can suddenly separate and things can be different. So by now, you might be seeing that your inner critic is actually having your best interest at heart. That might be hard for you because I'm seeing some of the things that people are writing. Oh, it's doing this and it's doing this and it's getting in my way. And it is a little challenging to see that it actually does have our best interest at heart. The thing is, it's protecting you. It's protecting you from pain and harm, and that can seem really crazy. And all this time, and maybe even now, you're thinking it's been your enemy, that the voice in your head, wherever it came from, and it makes you horrible to hear it, that and it's keeping you from your desires to actually, get what you want, that, that it really is working for you. But now, it's costing you dearly because the strategies aren't working anymore. Here it wants you to be safe and from pain, but are you? Are you having pain anyway? The guess is yes. And so is it really keeping you safe? And are you experiencing loss anyway? In a different way now, guys, right? Not maybe the same way as when you were younger when it was working, but now you're experiencing pain in a different ways while it's doing the old strategies. So this is a powerful part inside of you. This part we want you to have access to and be able to understand that it's a true ally. It just needs to get rewired. It came on board when you were a young age, when you were little, and you didn't have tools. And it gave you great ways to work your life, to be safe in your life, to not get hurt. But now as an adult, it's old, it's antiquated, and it needs an update. Does that make sense? It needs to be brought up to speed. So we have a tool we want to share with you, and we found this to be one of the most important transformational tools that we use. And we want to let you in on it. We want to teach it to you to a certain extent. The certain extent being that we only have a certain amount of time, and this tool takes a substantial amount of time to learn and own and experience. So we're going to give you a great taste. And then when we have our Live Your Calling retreat in February, the 20th, we're going to spend a lot more time be able to dialogue with you and to really get you to learn this inside out. But we're going to do a demo, and we're also going to give you access to a free ebook. It's actually an ebook I wrote called How to Tame Your Inner Critic, and it will guide you step by step through a process of really getting this relationship going with your inner critic to actually really get it on your side. So we'll give you access to that link in a little bit. So so you ready, Karen, to start the demo?
I'm ready.
Okay, am I ready? That's the question.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually do a little bit of an interview with Junie's inner critic. And I want to also mention that the workbook Junie is sharing with you is a way for you to do the same exercise, but doing as a journaling exercise. And I saw one of you actually ask, can you have more than one inner critic? And yes, you can. There might be inner critics that are protecting you from, if you think of almost all the different ones you might have, there might be a risk for you to get almost every one of those. And so that might be a separate inner critic. So yes, there's often more than just one, and they kind of have slightly different job functions in your psyche. So really what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to interview Junie's inner critic. But first, I need to find out what it is that you really want, Junie.
Okay, so I'm going to put myself on the screen now. So she's going to be talking, and you'll be seeing me interviewed. Go ahead.
So Junie, what is it that you really want, that you want to work with today?
You know, I want to stand more solidly and more strongly in the work I do, like fully. That's what I want.
You want to step strongly into the work that you're doing?
Yeah, more fully. Yeah, without stopping myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you could step fully and strongly into your work, what would that give you?
It would certainly give me even more purpose, deeper fulfillment, that I'm really making a difference and impacting more people's lives. That's what I would get, more fulfillment.
Some more fulfillment, right? Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, is there a part of you that is blocking you from stepping fully into your work?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. So could we talk to that part of you?
Yes, you may. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So would you be willing to step into and talk from that place?
Yep.
Right. So where might that part be in the room in relationship to you?
I hear my inner critic in my ear, like as if it's like hovering over, my shoulder.
Right. All right. So here's where I would want to ask you to actually stand up and go and stand as if you're talking into your ear. But for the sake of video, I'm just going to ask you to slightly shift in your chair. Just move over to the side a little bit. And so come into the part of you, right, that is blocking Junie.
Here.
You there?
Mm-hmm.
Hi there.
Hi.
So you're the part of Junie that is blocking her from stepping fully into her work.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I want to welcome you here. And I'm really glad to have a chance to speak with you right now. And so tell me, what are you protecting Junie from?
Well, my belief from everything I've seen with her is that when she is fully who she is, when I'm not in her way, so to speak,
Right.
that she's really big. She's really big. She's really bright. And I think that puts her at risk to judgment. People pointing fingers at her and maybe saying that she doesn't have what it takes, or that she's not good enough. So I'm protecting her from feeling the hit of the rejection or the pain of judgment.
Wow. Wow. So you're really in her life to protect her from those judgments.
Absolutely.
And from what sounds like criticism.
Yeah, well, criticism and judgment. I mean, I know there's similar,
Yeah,
but yeah, with what
right?
happened to her as a child, it was extremely painful. And if
Oh,
she was bouncing
wow.
around, smiling and being her happy-go-lucky self and the teacher's pet, it did not, it put her at risk to a lot of, shameful things, humiliation. It was horrible what she went through. It was horrible.
So when did you first show up in Junie's life?
Around fourth grade, because there was a
Around,
particular thing that
wow.
was going on with some girls there, and
So
yeah.
what was
Mhm.
going on when she was in fourth grade that you had to show up in her life?
Well, she was standing out, and it's a long story, but the long story short is there were a couple of girls that really didn't like me. And I mean, literally at lunchtime, I was pushed up against a wall with like
Wow.
three or four young girls. And I
Wow.
even
So
had a
these,
friend of mine join the group. And so I even had betrayal because she wanted to be with the group. And I mean, a friend of mine joined the posse. So yeah, so it was a big moment in time that made her feel very like she didn't fit in, that something was wrong with her, and that yeah, it was just very painful.
wow. So she really experienced a lot of pain in fourth grade, pain and like really real betrayal,
Yep,
and from her
yep,
best friend too.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was
So,
horrible.
so so you were really there for her,
Well, that's when I really stepped in, and I just said,
right?
you really need to like dim it down.
Wow.
You need to lower your light, girlfriend, because
Right.
when you're this way, people don't like you, and you can't be you.
What do you think would have happened to her if you hadn't shown up to protect her?
A lot more pain, a lot more
A
pain.
lot more pain.
Yeah,
Wow. So I really want to honor you and thank you for being in her life, for protecting her from all that pain.
yeah.
And it's my belief that a part like you don't get acknowledged much.
No, I mean she's hated me for many many years because I kept her from really shining her light when she was an actress or even getting close to some of her boyfriends. I mean I've
Right,
kept her back years ago more
right.
than now, but yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you've been with her for like a long, long time, and sometimes she hasn't been too happy about it.
No, because she wants to be
Yeah.
big and bold and bright and have a big life. I'm kind of I kind of ruin
Which
it for
can,
her.
well, because it can bring her a lot of
Yes.
pain. And little children don't have much choice about what they can take and what they
Right,
can't,
she had no tools. She didn't have
right?
anybody to help
Wow.
her. In fact, one of her friends went to the other side, so she was very alone, and she did not have the skills to be safe. So that is why I stepped in.
Right. And Judy's not a little girl anymore. She's a grown woman and she's developed a lot of skills and she's acquired many tools that little kids don't have.
Right,
And Judy also has some really good friends in the world right now.
she does.
And that really supports her
hmm
and that wouldn't do that to her. So
hmm
it's different for her now and she's different,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So I'm curious if you would be willing to maybe let her step more fully into her work and find some fulfillment for herself, knowing what you know now.
Yes, and I have really worked hard at stepping back for her. I really have a very small role in her life now. I'm watching. I still am very cautious and making sure that she doesn't do anything too risky or too crazy. But yeah, I really want her to feel fulfilled. I want her to live big and enjoy her life.
Wow, wow, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sure she will too. Is there anything else you would like to tell Junie about fulfillment before I switch you back?
Sure. Just that when you really come from your heart and you really trust that all is good, all is good, and I'm right here with you. But you really, you have great support, and all you have to do is ask for the support. You don't have to be alone and do it on your own, and you really can create a magnificent life. You are, look what you're doing. You're doing a great job, And I'm sorry that I ever got in your way. It really was about taking care of you because you really were hurt. And I really didn't want you to have such big risks in your life. And now I see that you hold your own, and I want to be with you, but I'm going to step back and let you live your big, bold life. How is that?
Thank you. That was beautiful. So, when you're ready, I'm going to ask you to switch back into Junie.
Okay.
So leave the part of yourself that's sitting there. Let go of that energy. Just let that energy go, and let yourself take a moment to come back fully into Junie.
I'm back.
Welcome back, Junie.
Thank you. Thank you. So always interesting how new things come up, guys. You know, I've done that many times. Great job, Karen. Great leading. So I am back, and that was great. And it was a good reminder that I do have support and that I am in a different place. And that's, you know, that's the power of this tool. But we are going to stop here. I mean, we can just keep going with this for a long period of time to really anchor these messages in. But, you know, we only have a certain amount of time with you. I can't even believe what time it is now. So we still have some more to go here. But you could see the power of the inner critic. You could see how by talking with it, you could understand it more. If you really take the time to listen to your inner critic and share with your inner critic what's going on inside of you, you could have this dialogue, you could have this relationship. And when you can have good communication with your inner critic and really get it to really see the impact that it's having in your life in a negative way, then maybe it can see that the very thing it's doing can be harming you. And when that inner critic sees that its strategies need to be changed, that's where the magic happens, guys. And I know I was reading before about how your inner critic is squashing your love life or squashing, you know, being able to even do the visualization. When that inner critic sees that there's great cost, that's when things change. So it's a great technique. I'm going to give you the link right now for the inner critic workbook. I forgot to put that up. So that's up there for you. And for those that are watching the replay, it's innercritictamer.com. You can get the free ebook there. And it's a great resource. Use it, and it's a great way to get started with this tool, and to really build this relationship and the dialogue with your inner critic. And then when we come together in February 20th, you'll have a good sense of this tool, and we'll go even deeper.
So what I really want to know is what that was like for you to watch that dialogue. Did you resonate with it? You know, even if your story is different from Junie's, I bet you saw some similar themes. And by coming into relationship with your inner critic, it can shift. It is a part of you. And when that part of you, that unconscious part, comes to the surface, hears what is going on and sees the impact on you, for better or for worse, it's a total game changer. And this is just one of the ways that we train our inner critic to become our inner ally. Can you imagine what it would be like when your inner critic shifts?
Things change. So that's what we're sharing with you guys. So, you know, there's the, actually, I think it's that way. there's the link for you, innercritictamer.com. So you can dive deeper with this tool if it's something that resonates with you. You know, the typical way of dealing with the inner critic, at least in the masses that I see right now, is through positive thinking and affirmation. And that, you know, if we talk the inner critic down by saying, we're wonderful, we're great, we can manifest anything, that the inner critic's just going to disappear. And what we have learned is it just comes out a different way. That, you know, there's the unconscious mapping that has happened from the past. And so, you know, it's a no-win situation. You know, it's like you're trying so hard to go up the hill and say, I'm great and I can create and I have this inner spark. But then there's this part of you that's like, no, this is too scary. There's too much risk. You know, you can't do it. You're not good enough. So it could really help to have this relationship with the inner critic, and realize that it's another part of you, a part of you that has value. And so to really just spend time with this part, you can really shift things inside you, and it will soften. My inner critic has softened, and it's changed its tune, and the results are really long lasting. So so pick up the ebook if you'd like, and get started.
So this a bunch of questions, and before we answer them, we have. But first, I want to say hi, Holly. Hi, Dee. I just glanced down and saw like, oh, my peeps are here. And I want to get really real with you, and I want to talk about what's possible for you, because we know you have dreams, and some of you may have some specific goals in mind or ways that you want to be in the world. Perhaps it's how you show up in your relationships with your kids or your partner, or maybe it's a career change to something that has more meaning for you. And we know that you want to come from your heart, your authenticity. You want to be the best parent you can be, a loving and present partner, a human on a mission to live out your soul's calling. But you've hit some blocks. You have an inner critic calling the shots and stopping you.
Right. And you have a purpose on this planet, guys. And the planet needs you to really show up fully. And we want you to show up fully. And I know that's what you want too. And I also know that it hurts when you're playing it half-assed and you're getting in your way. So I want to ask you to imagine something. Can you imagine waking up into a day where you're actually excited for your day? Can you imagine having different voices in your head? Voices that say, go for it. You can do it. You have what it takes, and be who you are, and that you're awesome. What would your life be like if that was the inner dialogue that you were hearing? How would that impact your life? How would it be with your kids or your partner or just your overall beingness? Things would be so different. Karen and I know this inner critic stuff. I mean, we know it inside out because we've lived it. We've felt its wrath, and we've learned how to live fully and joyfully in relationship with it. And we want to share this with you. We want to share what we've learned with you. And what we have found has worked with all the people that, you know, we've worked with individually and in our workshops. This stuff really works.
So we have created this awesome Live Your Calling virtual retreat to give you just that. So we're going to have a day together, about 5.5 hours of solid transformation. And we're going to fill that day with exercises that fills your heart, build your confidence, and have you feeling a big fat yes, I can be me and I can feel great about it. We will fill up your heart with the truth of who you are, and we'll quiet down the voices that tells you differently. And between the two of us, we have gathered up some wicked skills that we've picked up along the way, and we're going to be sharing them with you.
Yep.
So we're going to take you on the journey of getting your inner critic reprogrammed, and we will do this together. So if you want to join us and get your inner critic to become your inner ally, we want you with us. And Junie, can you put up the URL and how to sign up for this one? All right. So this retreat is 5.5 hours of you and us diving deeply together. And if you sign up by this Friday, it's only $97. On Friday or after Friday, it goes up to its full price of $147. And you know, the bottom line is this: we believe in this work. It has changed our lives and our clients' lives. And we want to give you access to this powerful training and at a juicy price.
So here's the thing I want to talk to you about right now. And this is not scripted. It was something that kind of came to me earlier when we were rehearsing it the first time, which is why you may not sign up. Our inner critic is very wise, and it knows you very well. And there's a good possibility it's saying, this isn't for you. You can't have this. Oh, don't even bother. That $97 is better off putting it in your gas tank. Well, actually, gas is pretty cheap these days, but maybe your oil tank. Bottom line is, if there is something in your life that you are wanting for yourself, if there's something in your heart that is calling you and you are feeling that you're getting in your way and you're doing the same things over and over again and you are stuck in some way, this is a perfect place for you to hang out with. You will shift. You will have an experience with us. We will dive deeply with you and have some substantial transformation during this day. And the reason we have the special just for a short period of time, well, firstly, because it's just for you. We're not offering this anyplace else, so it's just for you who's watching. But also, we really don't want to have your inner critic taking too much time to talk you out of it. So we really invite you to step back into that golden spark of yours. And is it something worth going for? Is it something that you don't want to stop and wait for any longer? You know, I don't want to sound like I'm doing this big sales pitch. I'm inviting you into an opportunity, guys, you know, and for $97, which is a pretty reasonable amount for what we're going to give you, I would say just go for it because you deserve it. We really want you to shine. We are so in your court and we really want this for you. So, yeah, go ahead.
Let's take some questions, Junie.
Yes. So let's bring us back to the
hour, right?
Yep. So we are at the hour. Let's see. Do we have any questions in the chat? Because we had some submitted earlier.
We had some submitted, and I do have one here that I'm not available on February 20th. Will you do this again?
Great.
And the answer is yes, we will do this again, but we don't have a date set yet. So stay tuned. And if you want to work on your inner critic right now, you can contact either me or Junie. We both do one-on-one coaching, and you can just contact either one of us, and we'll be happy to talk to you about what that would look like.
Great. One of the other questions I got, which was similar to something that somebody else posted earlier, which was, I did not see anything when I did the future visualization. There was just blackness. Does that mean I don't have a golden spark? Of course you have a golden spark. Yeah, I want to like hit you. Of course you do. The thing is that if you have a strong inner critic, it may not even allow you to dream. It may not allow you to even take a moment to say, maybe this is something I want, because that might be really scary on some unconscious level for you. And somebody, you know, in the chat room, like, you know, you zoomed in on that your inner critic got in your way. That's what happens. So whatever your experience was with your visualization, we are kind of dancing with this part that's trying to keep us from being too much in our essence, into our purity. I always say that I'm kind of cleaning people's souls off so that they can shine their divine light. We've picked up some gook along the way, and the inner critic is trying to be really careful not to have you have any pain. So that's probably what happened with you with the visualization. And it's all good. It's just one tool of many that we have.
All right, I've got another question. I don't always have good internet connection. Can I still participate? Well, I'm glad you're here. To get the most out of this retreat, you will need a computer and an internet connection that you can watch movies on. Like if you can watch YouTube videos, you can participate.
Yep.
If you don't have a good internet connection, then no. It might be that you can do it on your phone and just listening and maybe not watch us. I don't know if that would work, but a good computer and an internet connection is essential. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. I have another question. My inner critic is definitely my dad's voice. And just knowing that feels like it's letting up on me. Can you tell me again how to get the workbook you talked about? Okay, well, the workbook's innercritictamer.com. So that's that. But how freaking cool is that you identified that voice being somebody else other than your own thoughts, you know, that you identified it as your dad's voice and that you felt it letting up on you. That is the power of this, guys, that when we can really pull it apart and see what's ours and what's other people's or society, our culture gives us lots of messages. When we get to really see more clearly and have that perspective, it does let go. It does lighten up and your life changes for sure.
Right.
You want to talk about, go ahead.
What?
I was going to say, you want to talk about how the retreat looks. That was another question we had.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't be there for the whole day. Can I still participate?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a virtual retreat. So we really can't make you be there for the whole day like we can when we do have a seminar. It also means that if you drop off, it will really not disturb the group. So for sure you can come for part of the day, but you will not get the full experience. And for us, we would rather you drop off than come in late, because everything we would do this day will build on what we did before. So if you come in late, it might not make sense.
Oh, and I have something else
And
I want
then
to
what
add
will
to
the
that. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, finish up. Because there's something else I wanted to add. I forgot to tell them about the exciting news we got. But go ahead.
Okay, but then how will it work? What will the day look like?
Oh,
So
yeah,
we're going
no,
to start at
so
11
so
a.m.
hold that thought, because so in reference to coming late or leaving early, I wanted to say that I just spoke to Laura Berman today, who is this unbelievable songwriter, singer, musician extraordinaire, and she will be joining us to sing at least one or two of her songs, and that will be in the latter part of the day after lunch. So we will have at least that juicy surprise, as well as some other things to keep coming back with us throughout the day. So the day, Karen, go ahead.
All right, we'll start at 11 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll begin the process. And we're going to take about a half-hour lunch somewhere around 12:30 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be good to have a lunch ready to grab. And there will be guided visualizations, somewhat like you did today. There will be journaling questions to deepen the process, and there will be sharing of your stories. And we will end the day at 5 p.m. And it's going to be lots of juicy little surprises in between.
Yes, and so it's just been, Karen and I, but we have ways, guys, to have you join us video as well. If you want, you don't have to be on screen, but we're going to be interacting with you. We'll be talking with you. It's not just us, blah 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 all day. We are in it, in this cooker with you, sharing, learning, growing. It's going to be a juicy day, and we really hope you join us. So
So I have another
yeah.
question here. Will we be
Yeah.
able to get email updates from you if I cannot attend the retreat? Yes, if you are on this Google Hangout tonight or Webinar Jam,
Yep.
then you have gotten on a mailing list and you will get updates. So you will be, if we do this again, you will hear from us, and we will do this again.
Great. Yes. So I think that's all there is. We could talk for hours, obviously. There's so much to share, but we want to honor your time. We know life is full, and I personally am just so grateful that you joined us, and Karen, to be doing this with you. We have shared so much together, and to be able to do this together and then to offer it to you all, it's truly a gift, and I'm very blessed. And so I'm going to say good night to all of you, and thank you so much. Karen, you could say your parting words.
I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. And it truly has become one of my callings here in life, and that is to show as many people as possible that you do not have to live with that voice of your inner critic stopping you. You don't have to. That's where I want to end with tonight. So thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. It's been a pleasure. It's been so much fun working with you, Junie, and looking forward to our day on February 20th. And I hope to see some of you there.
Yes. Blessings to you all. Good night.
Blessings and good night.
Good night.